Hi, this is Tracy from We Craft at Home, and this is part 2 where we've done the fence and the tree. We're going to need a couple of trees, but don't worry about that for now. So if you can see basically here, we're going to put a card together so that there's 3 layers. So we've got one that's going like this, and then one coming the other way, going like that. And then what we're going to do, we're going to put a fence along this one, and trees coming up from this one, or the other way round, whichever way you prefer to do. So I'm just going to show you how to do that shape, and then we can start putting everything together. This is a long one, but I feel that it's worth doing in the long run. So what we need are our shapes, and we need this triangle here that's kind of got curved edges, and a square. We don't have to worry about the sizing just yet. We just cut our shapes up. So, don't know what is wrong with my mouse, excuse me, but it keeps double clicking for some reason. We're going to keep that for the actual base card. Now this might seem a bit complicated at first, and I do apologise. So we need this to come out a little bit, and then size it to the roughly the same size. You can do it on the size section if you want. So the height of the square, it says, oh, why is the square moved? Okay, I must have moved that somehow, because it should be both the same size. Let's just do that. We need it roughly the same height, and as you can see, so you can do it on there, just, oh, so that we know it's the same size. But then what we're going to do is just move it that way a little bit, and decide sort of how you want it coming down. I think I want it a bit more like that. Okay, and then what we're going to do, we are going to go and do divide. Okay, so it's divided all the different sections. We don't want that one, and we can delete. We don't want that one, and we don't need this one. And then these two, all we're going to do is weld them back together. And then we are going to duplicate and flip it round, and then you need to decide where you want it starting from the other one. So we bring the square back in. Actually, we'll get them all and align them, and hopefully that's the top one. We need this to come down quite a lot more than the other one. Let's get that in the right place first. Meet the bottom line. So the bottom line is meeting, because that's the one that's important. So we know we want it to come a bit further down, and I think maybe come that way a little bit. No, that doesn't look right, so we'll keep it straight. I've just undone the stuff I've done, so it's back to properly straight. Now I reckon about that looks right. You can do it however you want to do it, really, but you do need it to cross over a little bit. So I reckon that's about right. So now what I have to do is to get a rectangle, or whatever shape you want to use, and cut off this bottom bit here. I'm going to get in and make sure that it's on the bottom line. Okay, so we need to move the rectangle up just a tad. There we go. And then what we're going to do is shift and hold that as well and subtract, and then we're taking away the bottom of the card. So display, zoom to mat size. Now what we need to do to be able to attach them together, I'm going to need rectangle, and we need it the same sizing. So don't forget these are different sizes. So if we do the big one first, you need to attach a piece of the rectangle so that you can attach it to the square that's going to be like the center of the card. So apologies. The height of this, let me explain so you know. The height of this is 363. So you want the height of the rectangle to also be 363, and it's 364. So we just change the number. And then we'll make sure it's centralized through the middle so that they are level. And then what I'm going to do is bring that in because I want it half of the square. So it's going to be, well, I'm going to make it 2, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to make that square 4, just so that it's easier. Right, let's just make sure that the lines are together, which they're not. They need to go over a little bit more. And hopefully now, display zoom to mat size. If you catch them both, they should weld. Which they haven't done, which means they're not together. So we move that one over one more and then do it. There we go. So that's one piece. In place of the line that we've just taken out, we need to put a fold line. So that's your path tool. Click where the straight line ends. If it's easier, get a bit closer. So where the straight line ends, sorry, didn't click path tool again. Hold shift so it goes straight down, and then double click. Change it to I always like this one, as I always say, because I don't want, I think sometimes the other ones make the cards rip, and I don't like that. So we have that side of the card done. We will group it so we don't lose our score line piece, and then we need another rectangle, and match it to this size again. So this one is 253, so we need this one at 253. And then meet them on the bottom or through the center. Doesn't really matter which. So we want that at 2 inches. And then we're going to weld. And then again, path tool. Click, hold shift so it goes down in a straight line, double click and change to whatever pattern of dotted line you want. And then we are going to group that one. We'll have to ungroup it once we start adding stuff, because it doesn't let you weld anything where there's a dotted line. It'll say there's open lines. So now we've got our two pieces that will attach. Right, let's change that to 4, so we're working with the proper sizes. And this one we'll change to 4. Oh no, I don't want it at 4. So this will go on first. You stick it on the back, and then it will come lower down like that. And then this one again, you'd stick it on the back, and it comes even lower. So there are your layers of card. Now I want the fence on the front panel. This will come from the front. Obviously it is way too big, but all you have to do is get it to the size you want it. I'm going to duplicate rather than size that down, just so that I know it's all the same size. I'm just going to bring it down a little bit more in size. Okay, so let's get in close and make sure we're doing this right. So this has to come round a little bit more. I'm using the arrows now, just it's a little bit simpler. Cut off the least amount that I can. I mean, we can do that just by joining them together like that until, there we go. Let's see if that'll work. So if we join them together, weld them, okay, so what's happened there, I have not removed the overlap. Oh. Like that. So you just divide. Let's see if that's enough. Yeah, just divide. Okay, we'll get rid of them. And then we'll go back to these. So we have that one there. And that one we doubled over, didn't we? That there. Let's see how that goes. Operation not allowed. Just, I'm going to hold the shift and take off the card and make sure the fence goes together. To be honest, I'm quite happy with that. So we will go out. What we need to do first is ungroup it. And then we are going to just pick the card and the fence and weld. And then we can group it again. Actually, we'll leave it ungrouped for now. So then with this one, I want to put the trees on. So it's up to you if you do leaves, which I've done like this, just very simply adding a few of them on all over the tree. Obviously it's a bit big right now, you'd put it down to size. Now the tree probably has to be even smaller, and you can probably put a couple on there. So we want one that's just coming out of the card. Just make sure it doesn't go over. No, that's fine. Put it down a bit more. Okay, so you can see we've got a tree coming out of the card. I've got to ungroup that one. Nearly forgot. And then we weld, and we have a tree. So you can keep doing that, or you can make a copy first. You can put a couple of trees, or you can cut a couple on their own and just stick them straight on, going over the card like this. It's up to you. You can add whatever you want, maybe some grass strips or some little animals, and yeah, just keep going. So now they're ready to cut out. Well, that's not, is it? I need to get my mouse checked. There we go. So I'm just going to leave one tree sticking out for now. I think two might be too much, except for doing one on to stick it actually onto the card. Okay, so we need to cut 1, 2, 3 extra trees, and if you want to do extra leaves, that's just an ellipse that I have squashed down so that it looks like a bunch of leaves. That's all I've done for that. So let's cut everything out, and I will meet you over the craft table. Before I forget, whatever size you want to do the card, so if you want to do it 8 by 8, make sure that you size all 3 parts to the size of the card you're doing. I am going to do, I think, 8 by 8. Yeah, I'm going to do 8 by 8, so I will see you over at the craft table. Okay guys, so I'm over here at the craft table. I've got a few things ready ahead. So this is going to be the middle, and obviously I've coloured it to make it look like a sky. I've just used Distress inks, a darker one on the outside, and my sponge, and just gone over all of it like that. So a lighter blue and then darker on the outside. These are the 2 parts that we need to stick on. I've coloured I've got some extra trees that I want to stick on as well, and I've coloured all them. I've just used the aqua pens from Spectrum Noir and my water brush, and all them little circles I've cut loads out and just done them in a green with a few splodges of a darker, well, it's the same green but just splodged, not watercoloured. And then I want to colour these 2 parts in a green, the same as I've done the blue there. So I thought I'd do it in front of you so that you could see how I'd done it. Again, I've picked 2 different greens. This is Mowed Lawn. I'm not going to cut the sponge up. I'm usually tight, so. Just on a line that's not great, but and then we'll work it in a little bit. I'm not sure I need the darker green on this actually. I'm going to leave it as it is. I think putting the darker green on might ruin it. So what I done, I had an 8x8 and I cut it in half. So what I can do is stick that one there, that one there, like that, and then we can put this one on the back to hide the mess. So if we do that quickly, I'm going to use wet glue. As you know, I prefer wet glue, but tape will work just as well. So that then we have that effect at the minute. Now the next thing we need to do, actually I'm going to wipe that green off before I get it everywhere. So the next thing is we want it to bend out a little bit like this, so it looks like a heel. I'm just trying to find a pen. Where's my knife? Okay. So we'll first do this one, and this one we don't want out too much. About there. And if you draw a line, then you know where you're going to cut. So that one's going to be like that, and then that one you want a little bit more out. So we'll do it about there. So then you need your knife, and it's up to you if you use a ruler. Believe it or not, I'm straighter without, so I'm not going to. So then what we're going to do is feed it through. Now, you can send it flat if you don't stick the back of this down. There we go. So what I'm going to do, it looks a bit weird, I know, but I'm just going to cut that corner off so that I haven't got to cut right down to the bottom. It's a bit fiddly, but you'll get there in the end. So, and then this one. So then we've got that going through there. There we go. And then this one going through there. So I've cut a little bit of the fence so the fence doesn't stop it going through the flap. You could do this when you're still in canvas, but it's a lot easier to do it by eye so you know that it's in the right place. got a slightly rounded, there, can you see? Slightly rounded. It makes a big difference. Now the branches have got tangled. So next stage is to stick some more of your trees on. I think I want them all on the back and not on the front. Put the sentiment on the front maybe. So we'd stick them, I think one down there, and maybe one like this, and then this one over the top of that one. So we'll take it back out and we'll stick our trees down. It's up to you if you stick them down with pads or not. I'm going to stick them straight down, and I'm not going to worry about lining the branches up on this first one because it will just add to the depth of there being loads of branches. So there we go, there's the first one. The second one. Now we know where the slit is. We know we've got to stay away from there. So we'll put it about there. And that one we'll have there, like that. There we go. So we've now got 3 trees, and when we close that, yeah, I like that. Bring that one down a little bit. And then these, as you can see, I've just slightly coloured them. I mean, you could use, is that the green? You could use the mowed lawn one and just go over them like that. But anyway, so them you're just going to stick on to make it look like leaves. We have to, so we do one up there. So there's our trees. You can see. And then be careful when you're shutting the fence that you don't catch your tree. And then what I've done, I used this tiny little punch. Can you see? It's just tiny little flowers. And all I'm going to do is along the fence line put some little flowers, so little dobs of glue here and there. There we go. So just, you know, just along the fence, some little flowers. And then if you want to, you can get a fine liner and just draw some stems in if you feel the need. I will get mine. I mean, you could also use it to do some grass tufts. But there we go. And then we'll just do a sentiment along there. So you could do some grass tufts here and there like this. And then you just want a nice sentiment, so I'll leave that to you, whatever you want to do. But that is the card made up. Very simple card. You can either write, making sure it goes under the line, or write on the back. And there we go. So now we'll fold it in, and let's have a look at the finished. You can bend it up as much as you like. I just like it quite a small bend, and there we go, finished card that you've done from beginning to end, your entire self. Even the colouring. Didn't print out any papers or anything like that. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again next week. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.